Welcome to another episode of the Winter Hill Rewatch, part of my channel, The Filmaholic. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm hoping that you guys also watch the other videos leading up to this. We're talking about episode 2 of 5 through 2 of 8. So the first episode here that we're going to talk about is episode, once again, 2 of 5. It's called I Will Dare. And it's actually, it's not one of the, I'm not going to say it's one of the best episodes of season 2. It's one that I always enjoy revisiting just because it's so much fun, I guess. Minus the stuff with Felix. But this episode originally aired October 19th, 2004. It was directed by Thomas J. Wright. This is his third episode directing. He also directed episode 11 of season 1, as well as episode 19, and will continue to direct through season 5. Yeah, he's staying around a while. A fun fact is he also was the second unit director of Beverly Hills Cop, and Howard the Duck. So yeah, I think he was a good choice to come in and direct this episode. Like, he had a lot of experience with comedies and stuff that was fun, and he coming in to direct this one where they're doing dares the whole episode, but it's not just them doing dares and just being stupid and having fun and being a comedic episode. It actually moves the story along too, and is very emotional and heartfelt, right? Like, even the silliest moments with Nathan and Tim, we touch upon what I talked about previously, which I'm glad that they didn't just throw Tim aside, right? Because Tim's a stupid character, but he was Nathan's best friend at the start. So that was touched upon in this episode as we move forward to show how stupid he is. You know, we go back to, hey, you're moving on. You have all these new friends, but what about Tim, right? It touches upon that. We also get more of Peyton and her breaking down, in the church, confessing to the priest about what she actually did with the coke and whatnot. Even the stuff that I don't like with Felix, you get more with Brooke, and you add to her character. And you also introduced Anna in this episode. I'm not the biggest fan of Anna. I don't really like her character or Felix. I mean, she's obviously a much better character than Felix, but overall I could have done without both of those characters, and I'm definitely glad that they're only in season 2. But she's introduced in this episode, and she's introduced in a fun way. This episode was written by Mark Schwann. It was a nice little episode that we don't get episodes like this often. So when they're sprinkled in like this, it's a lot of fun. Then we're on to episode 206. We Might As Well Be Strangers. This aired on October 26, 2004. It was directed by Sanford Buchstaber. She only directed one episode. Not really surprised. The episode is not like a big standout episode. It's not a bad episode, but it's not a big standout. I'm not surprised. It's written by Terrence Coley, who went on, he wrote 12 episodes throughout the course of the first 7 seasons. His first episode was 117, which was Spirit of the Night, when they go to the basketball game in Charlotte in the cheerleading competition. That was his first episode writing, and then he would continue writing through season 7. So we move. This is the episode that we have the meteor shower. We continue to grow characters' relationships with Keith and Jules, taking a look at Dan and Deb and where they are in their marriage. And Dan obviously ends up lying to Deb to try to continue to grow his marriage back together, or piece his marriage back together. You also get Andy, who's been introduced now, and building his relationship with Karen. Like I said, Keith and Jules, Lucas and Anna, Brooke and Felix. You get all these characters. In this episode, I feel like it's about relationships and growing things that we've already set up, but also moving us forward with new people and new characters. Then we get to episode 7, 207, Let the Reins Go Loose. This aired November 2nd, 2004, and was directed by David Paymer, who is also an actor and a producer in real life. You've probably seen him in a lot of stuff. when I see his picture, I'm always like, oh, I can't believe that guy actually he directed episodes of One Tree Hill, because I've seen him in so much. But it's nothing like that would just like instantly come to your mind. But once you see a picture, you would know that you know this guy. He directed 2 episodes of the show, this one and an episode in season 3, and it was written by R. Lee Fleming Jr., who wrote She's All That, the movie She's All That. He actually wrote that, and he wrote 4 episodes of One Tree Hill total, 2 in this season, and then 2 episodes in season 3. Now, this is a pretty monumental episode of One Tree Hill because it introduces us to Trick, right? Like, when we see Trick before this, we actually see Trick in season 1 before it's called Trick, and it's just like that club that Brooke takes Lucas to. I'm pretty sure that's Trick. It looks just like it. I'm pretty sure that's it. And then we see Trick, obviously, the beginning of the season with the reception and whatnot for the reception for the wedding party, whatever have you. But then, Peyton starts the all ages club, and this is the first episode that Trick becomes a real club and a big location for the show moving forward. From this point on, it's probably, when you think of One Tree Hill and setting locations, there are 3 main ones that come to mind: the River Court, Trick, and Karen's Cafe. So that's introduced in this episode. You've got Chris Keller, who starts to become a big thing, obviously, in this season. Haley performs in front of a crowd in this episode, which, once again, keeps moving us forward in storylines, because that's a big character trait and a big storyline for Haley moving forward throughout the series, and especially this season, her music. And we even see in this little episode, as soon as it happens, the strain is going to put on her relationship with Nathan, right? And we already know the high flyer situation, that he put his dreams on hold, kind of, because of Haley. Or not because of Haley, for Haley. And that's going to come back in future episodes, and, how they need to both be honest with each other and open, and make sacrifices and balances for each other. So this was I really liked episode 7. I thought it was a good one. It also continues on the relationships of Keith and Jules, and Karen and Andy, and Andy meets Lucas, and that's a funny moment in the show. Lucas and Felix fight. Finally, somebody punches this guy in the face. We've been, since episode 4 when we first saw him, we've been wanting that. Somebody please punch this guy. Continue on with the storyline with Mouth and his crush on Brooke. That's continued. The fact that he bought or Felix bought the dollhouse that Mouth gives her. Mouth helps her home, but then she thinks it's Felix. This is all going to play into certain things moving forward. Yeah, man, did I mention that I can't stand Felix? Yeah, so this is a pretty good episode. And we also get in this one Dan spilling the beans to Karen that Deb and Keith slept together. And then Karen's upset about it. She confronts Deb, who then denies it. And once again, I like that it's showing like this other side of Deb, and make audiences question how they actually feel about her. The last episode here that we're going to talk about is episode 208, Truth, Bitter Truth. This aired originally on November 9th, 2004, and was directed once again by Billy Dixon, and it was written by Stacy Rickseyer, who wrote 4 episodes total, 2 in this season and 2 in season 3. Now, this is once again pushing the story forward like every episode should. This goes back to Dan's heart condition, right? Like, so Nathan and Lucas go to Charlotte to watch a Charlotte Bobcat game, which is a nice little foreshadowing. If you've seen the show before, you know what ends up happening with that. But the real reason they're there is so that they can take these exams that Nathan set up for them, because it's 1 and 2, right? With their medical condition, with HCM, with Dan's heart condition, that one of them might have this heart condition. And it's a surprise to Lucas, and he doesn't take well to it, and he ends up not doing the exam because he doesn't want to know. I mean, he just got on this team, right? In this year with season 1 and 2. He's just started to change his life, right? He's starting to become this person that I feel like he's wanted to become, and the fact that it might all go away, just finding out like an exam, and that all being because of Dan, like, no, he doesn't want to do that. So you can definitely understand why Lucas would turn down doing it. But you have that, and you have Nathan kind of reacting to that. That's his brother. You can tell he wants Lucas to take the exam, but and the fact that he's going to have to hide that from Haley or whoever else asks him about it. And then you also have the girls having like a slumber party of sorts. You have Brooke, Haley, Peyton, and Anna tags along, being that third wheel of sorts that she comes along. It's funny having all of them together, especially with Anna, and like how that affects all of their relationships. Felix kind of just sours the episode again. This is the first episode that we see Haley lie to Nathan, and the trouble ahead that's coming with Nathan and Haley, and Chris Keller being a big problem there and moving forward with that. This episode also builds more on Jules, right? Like, these past few episodes have really tried to make us as an audience like Jules, and that was really great that they did that with writing, because the reveal that's going to end up coming, you're going to understand, you're going to be like, wow. Interesting move there. So we're almost to the middle of season 2 now. The next video that I'll be doing will be the mid-season finale of season 2, as well as the mid-season premiere of season 2. We're going to start the next one with 209, and then continue that into 210, which I believe is the mid-season finale, and then start the second half of season 2, which is where things really start to pick up. Because right now, like, these are definitely season 2 episodes, and they feel like season 2. But the first half of season 2 has a very much same style and vibe as season 1. When we get to the second half of season 2, it goes full gear into what season 2 is, and eventually what season 3 is. Like, this whole other, like, drama angle that you could not imagine that was going to happen in season 1. And I can't wait, and I'm excited to talk about it with you guys.